What's good, everybody? It's your boy Big Nate. Welcome to Big Nate's Book Reviews, home of the best book reviews. And today we are doing a Penguin Classics book haul. So I got my doobie right here. It is ready to be sparked. And today we smoking this one for, I'm thinking Happy Feet. That seems to make the most sense to me, given that we are dealing with penguins. Or Antarctica. We are also smoking this for Antarctica. So if you got your doobie at home, go ahead and spark that. And then we are finna get right into it after I get this going. I'm sure you guys are getting sick of it, so I'm not even going to mention my podcast and how we have some really awesome episodes coming out featuring, not even coming out, that are currently out featuring such esteemed writers as Jorge Luis Borges, Franz Kafka, H.P. Lovecraft, etc. But I won't even get into that. It's like 9-10 p.m. right now. I was a little sleepy, so I made a cup of coffee, sipping on that drink. And there's nothing like a good... It's a bit of a paradox that like coffee, like a nighttime cup of coffee is like one of the great pleasures in life to me, but then you pay for it in equal proportion at 1 or 2 in the morning, and that's gonna be me. And you know what? That's okay. So okay, yeah, let's just jump right into it. So up first we have William James's The Varieties of Religious Experience, and let me just say, like I've mentioned before, I fuck with Penguin Classics heavily. They always have the best covers. They always have like amazing introductions. Like I have some books right now, including, for instance, The Histories by Herodotus. I got like the Landmark Herodotus, so it's like non-Penguin Classics. I'm literally thinking about dropping another like 15 bucks. Just hold on, let me situate my ashtray over here. I'm thinking about dropping another however much to get the history just for that introduction. From what I could found, the translation for the other one I have is like better, and that's something I've mentioned on the channel before too, is that I buy these Penguin Classics at the expense sometimes of translation. Like for instance, my most immediate dilemma right now, it's the only reason I have not been reading it. That's what is infuriating. I used to not care about book covers. I used to not care about quality, but something changed where I'm like, yeah, no, there is nothing like having a nice, good, new, and also like aesthetic book in your hand. I don't know how to explain it. It just makes for a better reading experience. So, but then again, also, you know, so does translation. So the only reason I have not started Dante's Divine Comedy, which I really want to read, is because it's like the Penguin Classics are like some of the hardest covers that I've seen, like of all the Penguin Classics at all. Like it is like my style of art, where it's like that fucked up medieval shit, like that dark medieval shit, and it's like Dante's Inferno. Like you got to get some crazy. I encourage you right now to look up Penguin Classic for Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Look that shit up and tell me how I can pass those covers up. But the translator, I think it's like Mark Musa or something. I think he's good, but from what I've seen, it seems like John Ciardi is like the main dude for that. But his covers are ugly. They're the Signet Classics. Oh my god, they're ugly. If they were just like okay, fine, I could do it. But look up right now, Dante's Inferno, Signet Classics, John Ciardi, and tell me, compare those two covers. Anyway, I won't even go off on it, even though I did in fact just go off on it. But look at this thing. So first off, The Varieties of Religious Experience. It's like, what even is that? It's like a cloud here. It's like a cloud. It almost looks liquid, like a water opening, and yet I don't know, with that thing, this thing captivates me. So I'm not too familiar what this book is about. Varieties of Religious Experience, I think. So William James is like one of the, you know, I learned about him. I've read him, in fact, before, for, among other things. I have a whole ass degree in psychology. Do I know anything about it? That's a different story, but nah. But William James is hard. He's a very good writer, and he also wrote like a landmark, I want to keep on saying philosophy, because he was also very much a philosopher, if you ask me. But foundational psychology tech, the principles of human psychology, some shit like that, and which is also really high on my list. He also wrote, and this needs to be another video, but he also wrote this essay that has just absolutely rocked my world. Something about like on the importance of psychical research. It's basically about supernatural stuff, and I should find this shit. Actually, I'm gonna do this on the podcast at some point, so get there. But the fact that it has to be William James, it has to be him that's doing it, but like basically he outlined there's like a whole psychical research center where they do research on like supernatural stuff, just like documenting it. And they're like, we're not going to try and prove or disprove anything, like let's just collect the data first and then we can make deductions or claims from there, right? Because like this is supernatural stuff. And the reason I'm so hot on this right now too is because I had something happen to me a couple days ago, a week or two ago, that has fundamentally shifted how I think about these things. So also the varieties of religious experience, that's apparently one of the things, is like one of the forms of religious conversion is like, whoa, you just get struck as if by lightning, like this absolute conviction that shit is real. But no, mine, I got hard evidence in this shit, I swear. But okay, you're laughing, I can hear you laughing right now, but the essay by William James, the psychical research thing, is basically him talking about some of the findings he had, where it's like, even he was like, I can't remember if I know this from his personal experience or if he mentioned this in the essay. He for sure mentions things like telepathy and like clairvoyance. He talks about that shit in the essay where he's basically like, yo, we have people like, you know, watching them to prevent anything from cheating. Like we're trying to make, you have some of the hardest skeptics in the room, and even they are like, there's nothing, there has to be something going. And it's like, this is, why does no one know about this essay? Anyway, and so I don't forget if this was in the essay or if he talks about it, but he says he was all like, oh, fooey, booey, mumbo jumbo on the supernatural stuff until he encountered a medium who knew things about him that even his wife did not know. And he said it shook him to his core. He said, dude, it was a fire line. He says, the claim that all crows are black only needs one white crow to disprove the whole thing. And freaking, he had this medium experience, and he's like, yeah, undeniable. I had some, mine wasn't on that level, but I have some shit that I am, and I was the skeptical rational, blah, blah, blah. There's a logical explanation, but bro, like, the thing that happened to me, I'm trying to think of things. Trust me, I'm trying to, and it's not working out so well, but anyway, so this should be good. I also just like him as a writer. So William James believed individual religious experiences rather than the precepts of organized religions were the backbone of the world's spiritual life. Discussions of conversion, repentance, mysticism, blah, blah, blah. And then the introduction. So that's again why I get these Penguin Classics, is the introductions. I find them very valuable. For instance, I just read Schopenhauer somewhere up there. That's the thing. I got this whole list. This is my Penguin shelf, right? I got a whole stack of Penguin books. How did I refill a shelf with more Penguin books? That's how I fuck with Penguin like that. So, but excellent introduction on the Schopenhauer text. When you think about it, the introduction is basically just an essay describing what you're about to read, or like the person. Give you a good introduction, give you context, like for who they are, with their position in history, what the ideas are about. I found that introduction very valuable. So, there you have it, folks. Okay, up next, this was purchased for me on my Amazon wishlist. Shout out to Kai. I'm hoping I'm not getting that mixed up, but I think it's Kai. Pretty sure. Shout out you, for real. I fuck with it. Do you see how good this copy is too? Oh my god, that shit is brand spanking new. Gustave Flaubert. I always say Flaubert. I'm assuming it's Flaubert, but I've been referring to him as Flaubert my whole life. My whole life, as if I just really talk about Gustave Flaubert like that, but Madame Bovary, no idea what this is about at all. I just know, for instance, it's in Hemingway's top 10 books. I'm pretty sure, I know for sure, for instance, Walter Benjamin talks about Gustave Flaubert, I think, criticizing him. I want to say Nietzsche and Schopenhauer talked about, but Schopenhauer, I think, might have been before Gustave Flaubert. Anyway, point is, this is a book that actually comes up a lot. And yeah, I couldn't see. Apparently, it's pretty fun to read too. Like, it's very in terms of the actual readability of the book. I think it's pretty good. But yeah, I kind of want to keep it low knowledge and context. I like really going. I bet people get pissed like, why don't you tell us what the back of the book says? But I kind of like going into that shit blind. I like the prediction error, the prediction violation. Up next, we have Frankenstein, the 1818 text. I don't know what other text there is, but another just stunning cover by Mary Shelley. This was gifted to me on my Amazon wishlist by Elizabeth M. You at day one. I see you. Shout out Elizabeth M. But Frankenstein, it's alive. What more do I need to say? Also, Frankenstein actually is the doctor, right? Everyone likes to correct you on that. It's the doctor in And then the monster, what's the monster's name? I have a feeling that shit's gonna be tragic, low key, where it's like he's gonna just come to life and he's like this ugly, dejected, outcast thing, like that everyone's mean to. It's not his fault or their fault. It's probably not even Frankenstein. But he's the doctor. That's a bad book name. You should have named the fucking monster, bro. Oh, I just Also, let me know. Let me wash it down with a little cup of Joe. Let me know about that Frankenstein thing, because I'm actually not sure all that was right. But okay. Up next, speaking of hold up. Let me set this down for a second. Alright, up next we have Soren Kierkegaard's Fear and Trembling and Either Or. And I want you to take a second again to look at these things. Look at these covers. Also, let me know in the comments, true or false. The picture is giving Caravaggio. I'm trying to get more into art. I'm extremely not at it, but tell me it's not giving Caravaggio, like the dark and light tones, like being indoor with like that lighting and like these weird violent scenes. But anyway, so I mean, this is what I like about Penguin too. They choose like covers that are very appropriate to the book. Like whatever the painting or like art that they include in it, it's like what that thing is about is very much related. Like for instance, Paradise Lost has a picture of like Eden. I think yeah, it's in Eden for sure. But I think actually I don't know. But Eve, I think it's Eve. It's got to be Eve. But like, cause it's weirdly in the background. Like it's like the foreground has like a male and a female figure, which makes me be like, is it Paradise? But anyway, they got like she's taking the apple from the tree of life. So. It's, you know, it's shit like that. So this is telling me, I don't know what it's telling me, but it's, like dark, violent, perhaps. But anyway, Kierkegaard is one of those, classic existential, hold on, let me pick the doobie back up. Ooh, let's resume position, resume and assume position. But Nietzsche is like Kierkegaard is like the counterpart to Nietzsche, if I'm not mistaken. I took a class on existentialism, you know. You know, it's funny, I came in blazed as fuck to that class every day, but that's, if you're gonna take existentialism, if you're gonna smoke during a class too, it's existentialism. Oh, dude, there was just one time I was straight up hotboxing with the whip with the homies, and I walk in the front door, right past professor. I swear to God, whoosh, with one big gust of incoming air, and then I sit down to this shout out this Javi. It's Javi, right? I'm pretty sure bro will never watch this, but I met him in my existentialism class, and we were just chilling. We just like, you know how that sometimes that happens here in class, is like, what's up, you know? That was me and Javi, so okay, I walk up because he smokes too. He smokes hella as well, and we will go to that class baked. But I sat next to him at one point. Not at one point, on this one situation where I walked past the professor, he said instantly, on the instant, he said, "Bro, you smell." So, and I walked back to the professor. Hold up, pause. Let me start from the front too. He said start from the front. Let me start from the top. When I first came into this class, because this is why it was okay, is because this fucker was on one. First day of class, it's like a pretty big class, right? Like kind of like auditorium lecture style, but only like half full, but like, you know. He stands, bro, I swear to God, for like a full minute. He had this is a night class. Existentialism is better at night. He had a cup of coffee, bro. Matter of fact, hold up. He had a cup of coffee. He said, for a minute, like, it's uncomfortable silence. And then he said, welcome. He said, welcome, bro. That shit, I was like dying low key. But, so what the fuck? Okay, Kierkegaard, he's Christian. Like Nietzsche is severely anti-religious, particularly actually he's not even maybe anti-religious, but he's definitely anti-Christian. Kierkegaard, as I believe, was like straight hardcore Christian, but that's where the so-called Kierkegaardian leap of faith comes, where it's like the whole point of God is that it, like, the fact that God is illogical, or it's like contradicts itself, and like when you really think about it, kind of like breaks down a little bit. He's like, you can't even, he's like, honestly, it's like, fuck all that. Also, let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. But then he said it's a blind leap of faith. The whole point is that it doesn't make sense. There has to be that incongruity for you. Otherwise it's not really faith. Like if you're asking for reasons and stuff, it's not faith. The whole point of faith is like unconditionally believing in something. So anyway, let me know if you've read either of these and which one I should start with, because I'm not like, one is pretty small, one is pretty big. I'm kind of tempted for some reasons to hit the big one and tempted for some reasons to hit the small one. So if you've read either of these as an introduction, let me know. Okay. Coffee break. Okay. Up next, hold up. Let me get my doobie spark. The fuck? You're funny. You're funny for that shit. We're almost done. Chill out, bro. Just take a seat, pop a squat. Okay, up next, bro, I got a little fucking... See, I get why people use filters. That's just too much work, but yeah, I'm paying that price right now. But, Seneca, Letters from a Stoic. I fuck with Stoicism. I've always really fucked with Stoicism. I first kind of saw it actually on this class I took on happiness. And I read that shit, and Stoicism is one of those things that, like, when you read it, it is one of those philosophies that it's not abstract or anything. Like, that shit, like, almost instantly changes your life, or at least changes the way you view things, even for a little bit. Even if you don't ultimately subscribe to the beliefs, it is like, it reframes you in a way that I've never had done with psychology. Anyway, like, if you've read Stoicism, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's kind of like a life-changing thing. So anyway, Seneca is one of the good, he's one of the main Stoics. As I understand it, it's, what's his name? The Emperor. Yeah, Marcus Aurelius, which was Meditations, which I get that book is really hyped at this point, but that book is, honestly, now I think about it, if I could take one book to a desert island or one of those, Meditations by Aurelius would have to be there. Like, if I could only have one book to read for the rest of my life, that would be a serious contender. Or some big ass thing like Brothers Karamazov, or like the Odyssey, I would do that too. But anyway, Seneca. Oh, so it's like Marcus Aurelius. Seneca is like, I think he was like a wealthy or aspiring politician, something like that. And then it's either Epicurus or Epictetus. I think it's Epictetus. But he was a slave, and he was also a Stoic philosopher. Like, all three, as I understand, it's like you kind of got one at every level of class. But I'm sure they differ in certain points. But anyway, so I think that's like, what, Letters from a Stoic. I don't know, I'm assuming, this is interesting about letters. I read letters from like writers. Sometimes they're very interesting. Or like, you know how you'll read like a diary of a writer? Letters are kind of like a lost art, you know what I'm saying? Like, people don't write. That used to be something you could really take time on and correspond with people. You know what I'm saying? And then imagine that feeling of getting a thick, well-written letter from like your children or some shit. Damn. Or let alone a lover. Oh my god. Okay, up next are the 3 Theban plays by Sophocles: Antigone, Oedipus the King, Oedipus at Colonus, translated by Robert Fagles, who translated the Odyssey and the Iliad, and whose copy of the Iliad, or the Aeneid I have. I know it's like, there is, I don't know, child is born who is prophesied to like kill his father and marry his mother, so then the father, to avoid that, which, you're stupid for this, bro, you take the kid and you like put it in the forest where, especially in mythic times like this, bro, you can't be fucking with that. Put that shit in the forest, and then he grows up. I forget, maybe he knows the prophecy too, so he leaves to avoid that happening, in turn going back home, and then, the rest is history. But on to our final book, we have the Nicomachean Ethics, written by Aristotle. Again, do you see this cover? Like, that is one of even the most beautiful of the ones I got. Honestly, I don't give a fuck what people say. That religious, like that Renaissance religious painting style is fire. I don't give a fuck with, and the Renaissance like hell stuff is even crazier. But honestly, I picked this up on recommendation of Jared Henderson. He said it was from The Classical Mind. He said I think he said it's his favorite book of philosophy, as well as the most reread book of philosophy, some shit like. Anyway, he put it in high praise. I think it was like a book beginner recommendation too. And Aristotle is to me, it's like The father of Western philosophy is Plato, or rather Socrates. So maybe put it Socrates, Plato, and then Aristotle is like right up next. A wellspring, a source of Western philosophy. In the Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle argues that happiness consists in activity of the soul in accordance with virtue. Okay. Discusses the nature of practical reasoning, value, objects of pleasure. Okay, whatever. I think it's just one of those general philosophy, but you know, I feel like that's what Plato did in the Republic. I've read excerpts where he just kind of touches on a bunch of different ideas. Okay, I feel like this is going on way too long, but those are some Penguin classics. Shout out Penguin. If you got a dope Penguin classic with like a sick cover, let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching Big Nate's Book Reviews, home of the best book reviews.